Today, we're going to dive into the really incredible story of a nation's transformation. We're talking about going from a quiet coastline of pearl divers to a global energy powerhouse. We are exploring the rich and complex history of Kuwait.
You know, it's a story that almost sounds made up. A small, humble settlement on the shores of the Arabian Gulf that somehow becomes a nation whose decisions can echo in boardrooms and capitals all around the globe. So that's the big question, right? How did that happen? Well, it's a journey that involves ancient empires, some serious tribal wisdom, a game-changing deal with the British, and two very, very different kinds of treasure, one from the sea and one from deep beneath the sand. To really get the Kuwait of today, we have to go back. Way back. Long before the oil rigs and skyscrapers, back to a time when its greatest strength was simply its location. What's so amazing is that this land has always been a crossroads. You've got Falaka Island, which was a hub for some of the greatest ancient civilizations out there. Think about it, it was like a crucial rest stop on the world's first superhighway of trade, connecting these massive empires. The modern story, though, really kicks off right here, back in the early 1700s. You have these tribes migrating from the heart of the Arabian desert, looking for new opportunities on the coast. They founded a small village they called Al-Kuwait, and that little settlement was the seed that would grow into the nation we know today. And in this new community, one family, the Al-Saba, started to stand out. They were known for their diplomacy and leadership. And so, around 1752, Sheikh Saba bin Jabir was chosen as the first ruler, starting a dynasty that, incredibly, still guides the nation more than 270 years later. It's really easy to forget this, but long before anyone cared about what was under the desert, Kuwait's entire economy was built on the sea. Pearl diving, they called it white gold, was the absolute lifeblood of the nation. It was a dangerous trade, for sure, but it made Kuwait a major maritime player in the region. But the world was changing, and fast. The demand for pearls was about to completely collapse, and Kuwait had to find a new fortune, or, well, face ruin. And this brings us to the great turning point, the discovery of black gold. Now, to secure this future, Kuwait had to play its cards just right, in a very dangerous political landscape. Facing threats from the huge Ottoman Empire, its ruler, Mubarak the Great, made an absolutely brilliant strategic move. He signed a treaty that would protect his small sheikhdom and completely change its destiny forever. The deal was pretty straightforward. Britain provided military protection, and in return, Kuwait gave Britain control over its foreign policy. This move secured Kuwait's borders just in the nick of time, because on the other side of the world, a new invention, cultured pearls from Japan, was about to make Kuwait's main industry obsolete almost overnight. So suddenly, the nation was safe, but it was broke. And then this happened. In 1938, a discovery was made that would redefine not just Kuwait, but the entire global economy. Deep under the Bergen Desert, they found one of the largest single oil fields ever discovered on planet Earth. Just look at the sheer scale of that change. Kuwait went from being a regional sea power built on pearls and ships to a global energy giant fueled by the Bergen fields. Its entire economic model was just completely flipped on its head. And check out the speed of this transformation. In just a little over 60 years, Kuwait goes from being a protected sheikhdom to striking oil, to full independence, and then to establishing one of the most progressive constitutions in the entire region. That oil wealth didn't just bring in money, it turbocharged the birth of a modern nation. But all this newfound prosperity would soon face its greatest test. The unbelievable wealth lying beneath Kuwait's sands made it a target, and that led to the most traumatic chapter in its history. On this date, everything, and I mean everything, changed. Neighboring Iraq, under Saddam Hussein, launched a full-scale invasion, trying to claim Kuwait as its own territory. Just 2 days, that's all it took. 2 days for the Iraqi army to completely overrun the entire country. The speed and the shock of it just stunned the world and plunged this hopeful, prosperous nation into total darkness. The 7-month occupation was absolutely brutal, but the final act, that was something else entirely. As they retreated, Iraqi forces set fire to hundreds and hundreds of oil wells, creating this apocalyptic landscape. It was a true ecological disaster. But the international community didn't just stand by. A coalition of forces, led by the United States, launched Operation Desert Storm.
And on February 26th, Kuwait was liberated. The nation was scarred, it was burning, but it was free. So, how does a nation even begin to recover from something like that? Well, this final chapter of our explainer looks at how Kuwait not only rebuilt itself, but actually forged a new identity from the ashes of war. After the war, Kuwait really focused on three key things. First, a massive reconstruction effort that rebuilt the country in record time. It was unbelievable. Second, they doubled down on their unique parliamentary system. And third, they transformed themselves into a global leader in diplomacy and humanitarian aid. And through this long, often chaotic history, the leadership of the Al Sabah family has been a constant thread. You have the Sheikh, who is known as the father of the Constitution, the Emir, who had to lead through the trauma of invasion and rebirth, and the ruler who became known around the world as the humanitarian Emir. Which really brings us to our final question. After this epic journey from sea to sand, from crisis to recovery, what is the soul of this nation? What's it really all about? And the answer, it isn't just in the wealth. It's in the traditions, it's in the cultural practice of the Diwania, these civic councils where citizens gather to discuss issues freely. It's in its rich heritage of poetry and art, and a deep, deep culture of hospitality that has survived through everything. In the end, the story of Kuwait is this powerful reminder that a nation's strength isn't just about its size on a map. It's about resilience, it's about wisdom, and it's about the ability to navigate the wild tides of history. Thanks for joining us on this journey.